standard tuning. So if you have a guitar in regular old standard tuning, you don't have to retune. Okay, so I tried to play this like the recording, but I also I spent a bunch of time with the version from the Tiny Desk concert in 2017. There are some little differences, some things that are different. I'll try to point those out, but I'm trying to do it like the record. Also, she uses her thumb in this hand, which I don't love doing that, and I know some people find it really hard, so I'll try to show you non-thumb alternatives. Okay, first chord, which is a kind of a B minor. First finger on the second fret of the A, second finger on the third fret of the B, third finger on the fourth fret of the D. Second chord, now, you're gonna basically have your first finger take over for your second finger on the third fret of the B, your second finger take over for your third finger on the fourth fret of the D, and your third finger grab the fifth fret on the low E. Then pick up the third finger and have the thumb play the third fret on the low E. If you want to do this without thumb, for the second chord, just pick your first finger up, play open A, and then have your first finger move to the third fret on the low E for that one. Okay, so that's an option. The finger picking pattern, right? So thumb is going to be going between the A and the D, or the E and the D, depending on the chord, right? And just thumping along A, D, A, D. And that's sort of the rhythm of it, right? 1, 2, 3, 2. Okay. And then the index and middle. Index is on the G string, middle is on the B string, and they go sort of, in between the thumbs the second time. So thumb, 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 index, thumb, middle, right? The overall pattern, I'll show you how it goes for the whole thing, right? So I'm on this chord, I go thumb, 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 index, thumb. Now I have to start switching for the next chord. So my next middle is probably gonna end up just being an open B, right? It's gonna go like this. And now I get into this chord, I do that thumb, index, thumb, middle again. Now when I get to this chord, I do the thumb by itself twice, then thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, and that's the same kind of thing. I switch on that last middle, and now I'm back here. I messed it up that time, but hopefully that makes sense, right? Your index and middle can do more of like a strumming, sweeping kind of thing. That's like a common finger picking style that she does sometimes too, right? So it's like, and that's especially true when you get to this one. Sometimes in this chord, you can add your pinky on the fifth fret of the high E. And then if your middle finger, instead of just plucking the B string, kind of scrapes back on the E and the B, you get this nice chord, which you hear sometimes, right? So, so then the overall pattern is more like, something like that. That was a little sloppy. Okay, so anyway, so that's the verse. It's also the intro. The intro at the very beginning, I tried to imitate. There's like this weird thing where the very first time, instead of going, it goes something like that. It starts with you hear this B string note and this G string note happen first. Doesn't really matter unless you like the way that very beginning sounds. The intro at the very beginning is 3 times. The intro after the first chorus is 2 times. The verse is always 4 times through that progression, and then it's this slight variation where it goes, and then goes to this chord. This is first finger on the third fret of the B, second finger on the fourth fret of the low E, third finger on the fourth fret of the D, and pinky on the fourth fret of the G. And you can pick that the way you picked this chord, right? So it's like thumb, 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 index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, right? And that takes you to the chorus. In the Tiny Desk version, she just does this twice. She actually kind of does, but the version, the record, which is what I copied, the first thing that happens is this weird thing. So, so this is like that D chord, right? I'm doing it with my second finger on the second fret of the G and my third finger on the third fret of the B, and I'm kind of doing like a thumb, middle, thumb, middle. It's something like that. It sounds like this: do 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 do, D B G B. You could also do that thumb, index, thumb, middle, you know, it depends. Then first finger comes down and grabs the second fret on the low E string, and then you pick E, G, D, G. So it's D, G, D, B, G, B, E, G, D, G. Then into a G chord, which is just second fret, so the second finger on the third fret of the low E and third finger on the third fret of the B. And then you go back into your, and it does that pattern 3 times. So it feels a little weird. It's like, right? That's that part. That's like the first part of the chorus. Then it goes down into this walk down thing, which is, again, in the live version, this is what she does both times. On the record, there's this little hammer on. It's like the first finger hammers on the second fret of the G. So it's like, so this is getting to this D via the hammer on. Then pinky grabs the 4th fret on the A. A, G, D, B. Now you have to maneuver your fingers a little bit. You can keep your third finger here, but have your first finger move to the second fret on the A and the second finger go to the second fret on the G. Same finger picking pattern. You know, thumb, index, thumb, middle, and with the thumb going between the A and the D and the index on the G and the middle on the B. Then pick up the first finger and you have this, and then to your G. So it's just this walk down. D, D over C sharp, D over B, D over A, G, right? Again, in that live version, she kind of picks the high E string, so it's more like, and then on the G, she adds that note, first finger grabbing the second fret on the E. So it's like, it's a nice version. I also like the record version that's like sort of, so the first chorus is basically, the first chorus just goes, and then it's right back into the, right? The second chorus happens more times. So the second chorus would go, that again. I don't wanna be alone, right? Don't wanna be alone. So it's like just like an extra time of that D walk down. And then it goes to an E chord. Finger picking pattern will be thumb going between E and D, index on G, middle on B. Little walk up. I just moved my second finger from the second fret on the A to the second fret on the E. So it goes back to this G with the third fret on the low E and the third fret on the B. I'd probably do it differently sometimes. I probably would do it this. Second finger on the third fret of the low E, third finger on the third fret of the B. And you could, again, in that live version, she definitely sort of swipes the high E string and the second fret on the high E string, so it's like, you know, that kind of thing. Or you could just keep it simple and just have the picking pattern go between the, you know, G and the B with the index in the middle. Okay, so and thumb, 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 index thumb, middle thumb. Just does that a bunch of times. And then that takes you to like the outro. So the outro, this is another thummy part, right? The first chord is like this. First finger on the 3rd fret of the B, second finger on the 4th fret of the D, third finger on the 5th fret of the low E. And now the finger picking pattern becomes more, the index and middle get more steady, right? So it's just thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb, index, thumb, middle, just constantly. Then it's, and then same finger picking pattern in the right hand, but now pick up the 3rd finger here, so you have this open E. Thumb grabs this is just for one beat, the thumb grabs the 2nd fret on the low E, then it moves up to the 3rd fret. And this is, this is our old friend from the verse, so you can again have the pinky grab the 5th fret on the high E string and sort of swipe that with your middle if you want. So you could end up like this. I don't know, you can make it up different ways. If you want to do that without the thumb, I would do 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the B, 3rd finger on the 4th fret of the B, same picking pattern. Open E, 1st finger get the 2nd fret on the low E, and then have the 1st finger move up to the 3rd fret on the low E. And you could still do that pinky on the 5th fret of the high E if you want. And yeah, that timing, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. When the singing starts, this chord starts going twice as long. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Then open low E. And that whole thing happens like a few times, three or four times, and then it just ends on this chord. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that and that it all makes sense. This lesson is dedicated to that person who kept begging me to do this song, so I hope that you in particular enjoyed it. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions or complaints or suggestions. Thanks so much.